Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. It's half time. Celtic nil, Bayern Munich 1. The players trudge off there, Sean. You can understand them feeling a little deflated there. For close to the 45 minutes, I think the job was being done. It was being done well, but let's take nothing away from the quality of the opposition as well as the quality on that finish. I'm sure we'll talk about the defending in a moment, but yeah, hard one to take given I think the effort, and one thing you cannot fault in that half is the effort from Celtic. We said before the match that the one thing we wanted was to let Bayern know that they're in a game here, and I think we've largely done that. But just needed to hold on for a few more minutes there, didn't we?
Yeah, the concentration in tactics was really good. For almost the whole half. If you could kind of feel the nervous energy coming in, and it's starting to slip a bit after 40 minutes, and I was just okay, just get to halftime, and it looked like we kind of did have in our mind that yes, we're getting to halftime, and then we switch off, long ball, Taylor's away from the man. Even when Elise cuts in, Taylor even gets a touch on it, but it's a weak touch, so Elise ends up just bouncing off Elise, giving him space in the box, and he just rattles it into the top corner. So it's an unsavable shot, but Taylor's real weak there, and we were kind of caught napping at that point, looking like we were ready for halftime, and Bayern just said, "Look, this is what happens when you switch off against us." And you could also argue the point that the corner kick as well. There shouldn't have been a corner kick.
Yes.
Harry Kane at the back post. We got done on 3 of those. There's 2 where Adamida we should have had a corner, and then the one where Sané runs out and Bayern get a corner. So we're definitely not getting any 50-50s here from the ref. Not going to help here. And but it's been a tough game. But we've dealt with it well right up until the last 5 minutes there, and we switched off. I think we're playing an interesting formation. We're playing 4-4-2 out of position. So Hatate's basically playing up alongside Ida, and Engels and Kalmak are playing that double pivot. And it's worked pretty well. Engels has had a really good game. Trusty's had a really good game. Kalmak's done well at cycling possession.
I would agree.
Yeah, we've not created. Fair enough. The only chance we really create is when we go 1-0. The fans anyway think we've gone 1-0 up inside the stadium. But for me, watching it on the camera, my immediate reaction was, unless there's a fullback out of position, he does offside there. It's gone through his legs, so it was he's clearly impeded the goalkeeper and been in an offside position. But yeah, no, I think Trusty and Engels we've not had much of the ball, so it's really come down to who has been the best players out of possession, and that has been Trusty and Engels so far. Where we've fallen down in possession is really been kind of Hatate playing that weak pass where we almost give up a real good chance, and Taylor, when he's playing it down the line, it's just going out of play. Maeda's
on two occasions, I think. Yeah,
more than that even, but Maeda's probably given him a death there at some point because he's been pretty much the weak link tonight, and that's not always been the case in Europe. He's played well in games in Europe for us, but tonight he's looked pretty outmatched from pretty early on. We pre-match, and I was saying Musiala is the danger man. Watch Musiala, and it's turned out to be that Oliseh on the right is having a field day against Greg Taylor. Which again is not. I don't want to pick on Greg Taylor here, but it feels like we're being targeted down that side, and it feels like I'm not sure Kalmak's got the legs to cover for him. Trusty's been based. That's why Trusty stood out defensively, because he's the one covering for Kalmak. Not for Kalmak, sorry, for Greg Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. Let's try and break down some of the key events in the game. So obviously the opening goal, which is chopped off correctly, I think we'd probably all agree, and I think your analysis confirms it, Sean. But what that did show is that Kuhn, for me, had the beating of Eric Dyer, and I think had we utilised the opportunity to exploit that. Very, very difficult given the opposition because, as you rightly pointed out before the match, their pressing and their control of the ball and their fluidity is it's quite something to see. I mean, that wasn't a comfortable watch for the 45 minutes, and that's not denigrating Celtic's performance. I thought Celtic actually for 44 minutes there played extremely, extremely well. I thought actually there weren't many slack moments. I think the ones we've mentioned, Taylor putting the ball out needlessly a couple of times, Hatate a couple of weak passes. One occasion where I think Engels should maybe be stronger, but I'd agree with you. I think he's had a fantastic game. And actually, almost a coming of age performance. He's shielding the ball very, very well and maintaining possession, which I think is great. Kalmak, I think, has played that pivot really well as well. Positional sense seems to be really good tonight. I think Carter Vickers showed that as well at one moment when Bayern were breaking and just found himself absolutely in the right position to cut out the through ball. So I think there's a lot of positive elements to Celtic's play, keeping in mind the level of opposition. And I will absolutely emphasise this: Bayern Munich are a quality outfit. You could see it all over the park tonight. But I think what was pleasing tonight is we recognised our role largely in that first half. Our role was to soak up the pressure, look for the opportunities, try and build out quickly from the back, all the way from Kasper Schmeichel. And I think on a couple of occasions we've done that. Some great use of possession, some nice one-touch football to build the play. Not necessarily creating a lot of opportunities. I think Adam Ida's finding himself outside the box more often than not. He's not really finding himself too many opportunities in the box. But there were small glimpses of openings. And I'm wondering, how can we take advantage of that in the second half? What's our approach in the second half, Sean? To put more of a question on it, do we try and limit the damage, play the same way and look for opportunities, or do we look to try and be a bit more offensive, a bit more direct, and maybe put them under pressure?
I think certainly to start, we have to kind of have a holding pattern here, because other than Greg Taylor caught napping there, it has worked. So we need to, I think it's more of the same for at least 15 minutes, and then we can maybe think about making changes, bringing on Jota, who'll have a bit of X factor, can maybe take a man on. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. We need a bit of rubbery green as well, and we've not had that yet.
No,
we've done what we can to keep it as to keep the game tight, and we need. Yeah, we need a bit of luck, bit of X factor. We thought we had that in the first minute with Kuhn coming in and beating the keeper from range, but then there was really we didn't have any other chances after that, really. We got in behind once, and the cutback was intercepted. I can't think of anything else really where we've shown any real danger. Yeah, it's breaking down. We're doing the right thing in the sense that when we do win possession back in the middle, we're not going for it. We're holding that possession. We're not turning it over with the team out of shape, which is what you need to do at Europe. You need to against these big teams. If you try and go for it when you're out of shape, then you're going to get picked off. But yeah, it's frustrating in that sense that is the correct way to play. And I'm not going to hold my hand up and say, we're just playing a better team. Let's just give up. I'm not saying that.
No, absolutely.
But it would be great if we could get a bit of luck, get a bit of, catch them napping at one point. But so far they've been super disciplined and super in shape as well. And a couple of times we had an overload on the high press, and I don't know how to say his name, Upamecano. Sorry, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Upamecano,
yeah. He's just played these otherworldly kind of vision of passing out of under pressure, and it's like, oh man, that's real the difference in quality here. You don't get that against a Hearts or a Ross County. They don't respond to the pressure in that same way that these Bayern Munich players do.
Absolutely. I mean, put yourself in Brendan Rodgers' shoes then, Sean. I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you happy, given the way that first half went, are you happy in the sense that it's still 1-0 and you do have the opportunity to come back in that second half. I mean, the game's not over. This is not an Aston Villa where you're 2 goals down very, very quickly, or a Borussia Dortmund where you're really up against it at this point. I mean, we're still very much results-wise very much in this tie. So, what are you thinking in terms of how to change it in the second half? What would be your changes? Should we still be 1-0 at, say, 60 minutes, which is tends to be the Brendan timer?
Yeah, and this is where the transfer window comes back into focus, right? If you can't change it up front, really. I don't think Johnny Kenny against Bayern Munich is the answer here. But yeah, you're probably going to bring on McCowan at some point for Hatate, I would imagine. And you're probably going to bring on Jeffrey Schlupp for Greg Taylor, and I'd imagine you'd be bringing on Jota for Maeda. Not that Maeda's played poorly, but just, Kuno Maeda has to go off, and Maeda's played a lot more football in the last 2 weeks. So, I guess you could potentially put Maeda up front and take Ida off for Jota.
That was my point. I was going to say, where would you make the switch for Jota? So if we say Jota's probably the most likely to come on, do you go with playing Jota in Maeda's position, moving Maeda into the middle and substituting Ida, so that you've got that mobility and that movement, or have you seen enough from Ida to think that he's maybe the more dangerous option playing up front?
Look, I think apart from that first minute, we have not been able to play through the thirds, which is very much a feature of our game normally. It has been when our chances, or not chances, but like our potential chances have come from winning on the high press or going long. So, cutting out that middle third. So if you take Ida off, you might, I don't know, it just changes the dynamic of what you're doing in that sense. If it's Maeda up front, you have to go channels. With Ida, you've got the option to go direct and him to try and take in possession. That's not an option really with Maeda there up against the guy whose name I can't see, Upamecano. I'm just going to start calling him Meccano. So that changes the dynamic in that sense. And with Bayern Munich being 1-0 up, they're hardly going to be chasing the game, So, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. This is why Brendan Rodgers gets paid millions a year. So he needs to make this decision. If you're asking me what I would do, I'd probably stick with Ida in that sense.
Gotcha. Well, let's see what some people in the comments are saying. Urban Culture comes in, Celtic punching up, proud of the team. I mean, I think, we're 1 minute away from having a very different outlook at half-time. And I do want to emphasise the point that was one hell of a finish. I appreciate, maybe too much space given up by Greg Taylor, but Olise has been showing his quality throughout that half, and it was a special finish. Jim McLaughlin comes in. We'll do well in the second half and keep the score to 1 or even better. I think that's fair. Slabbering Cabbage sums up how I felt on the 44th minute. Saying, can I scream in the chat? Well, yes, you absolutely can, and you have. Not sure I necessarily agree with your more here. Either out of possession is useless and hindering our press and can't hold the ball up properly. I think he's actually held the ball up quite well on occasions. I think it's very difficult because the Bayern defenders are excellent in terms of their positioning. And as Sean's rightly said, Upamecano has got a bit of a virtuoso passing, and visual range. But I think the downside is that Ida's spent a lot of time outside the box. And I think that's through necessity, to be fair. Paul comes in and says, I'm definitely not being negative. Celtic still in this, just talking about levels. Some aren't there, but game on. Yep, I would agree. Robert Burks comes in, good fight in the team. Taylor's having a poor one. I think, on a couple of occasions, but he also, I think there were certain things Taylor did well. He did try and feed the attack on a couple of occasions, just not necessarily working out too well. And forever and ever Celtic, Olise has and will expose far better, to be fair. He is a player. Yeah, I would agree with that. Liam Devine saying, I'll be bringing Jota on for Ida. I think that's quite popular. Craig McMeekin comes in, Schlupp on, Ida off, Maeda up top, Jota left wing. And John McDowell comes in, park the bus, no, we get a penalty. I'm not sure we're getting much off the referee tonight. I mean, what should be your view of the referee's performance, Sean?
I was actually thinking about 30 minutes in that this is probably the easiest money he's ever made, because there was no flying in tackles, there was no real big controversial decisions to make. When your most controversial decision is, should I had a corner here, should I had a corner there, then fair enough. I actually thought there was one Where Bayern, if Olise goes down, he's potentially getting a penalty after Taylor trips him. But so I don't know that he's had much to do, to be honest. Like, easy money for him tonight. It's two teams that are playing defensively in units. There's no real blood and thunder about it. It's no real, apart from those couple of minor calls which have gone against us, which feels harsh. I don't think there's been much wrong there.
Absolutely. Okay, well, the players are coming out onto the park, as I can see. Sean, thank you very, very much. Just one last point to you, and want to finish on a positive here. Can we do it? Can we get a result?
We can. We came back from 1-0 down against Leipzig. It's a bit of a tougher task this time, but we can do it. We need probably the best performance of some of these players' lives in the next 45 minutes if we're going to achieve it. But it's possible. It's not gone yet.
Yeah. Well, I think I can hear the collective fingers crossing all around the sport at the moment. All right, guys. Listen, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Over 1,700 strong. Thanks again to Sean Conley for your contributions during half-time. We'll see you at full time. Let's hope we can do something in the next 45. But as always, we'll get behind the team and we'll be here, win, lose or draw at the end of the match. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you at full time. Hail, hail.
Yeah.